welcome to Southampton, Russell.
Thank you.
From the BBC. How are your preparations going in terms of where you hope to be 2 weeks out from the start of the season?
Yeah, really well. I'm really pleased. I didn't have an expectation of where they'd be. I knew what we're doing is very different for the players to what they've been used to. So it's a case of coming in and assessing how quickly we maybe be able to get some ideas into them, how long others would take. But I've been so impressed with the players and their willingness to learn and to be vulnerable, making mistakes, trying new things, all of that stuff. Their mentality to train is incredible, which is huge credit to them, and also, you know, what the staff here, the coaching staff, previous managers have built in terms of their intensity to train, their willingness to train properly, and the character of the group in terms of that's been amazing. So it's been really easy with the disappointment they had last year to not have that approach, or maybe to take it easy, but they've attacked everything with real intensity, with real energy, and now they're starting to do it with a bit of a smile on their face as well, which is nice, because we're going to need to enjoy it together this year. It's going to be Championship is a tough old slog, and if you can't find a way to enjoy that, it becomes really difficult. So yeah, I've been really impressed in terms of the detail and the tactical stuff and all that. It's not going to look perfect in 2 weeks' time, but we're going to be in a place where I think it looks good enough and is good enough to be able to go and win games at this level, and hopefully give us something to grow on, to build on, and to keep improving. So I think every game so far, we've only played 2. They've improved, or there's stuff we definitely can improve on, and then they've really taken on board the stuff we've taken from those games and then applied it in training brilliantly. And I hope tomorrow against Reading is another example of that for the group and for us as coaching staff as well.
We've had previous managers say they want to work with a squad of around 24. That would be the optimum to get your ideas across. Obviously, you're quite away from that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Where are you in terms of squad size and where you want to be moving forward?
Well, we have a huge squad in terms of just having training numbers every day is big, because we have a couple of young players that we really want with us every day as well, because they're incredibly talented, and it's our job to try and promote them as quickly as possible into the first team here. We want to win and we want to get back to the Premier League as quickly as possible, but we also want to create players and to help players grow. We have a lot of young players, so the squad is big. That will change, I'm sure, as the window goes on. These things always take time, don't they? Especially when you've been relegated and everyone wants to take players at a certain price. So Jason and the ownership group are in charge of that. They keep me posted on all of it. But whilst the players are here and the players we have, in whatever numbers, we'll give them everything we've got, and that's all we ask back in return. They've been great. So there's a lot of players with huge amount of uncertainty over their futures, but whilst they're here, they're all in, been 100% present, giving us everything they've got. And that's all I can ask. So whilst we have that, we'll give them every bit we've got, and there might be players who start the season for us but end up leaving a couple of games in, because the transfer window closing a month into the season is ridiculous, but it is what it is. So we deal with that, and there are going to be days where we can't train with everyone when we're trying to prepare for a match and all that stuff. So but again, we'll be 100% professional and respectful towards them, and that's all we ask for in return.
It's hard enough anyway, isn't it, when you're trying to implement a new playing style? I just want to get an insight into your head. You must have so much going on at the moment. Who's going to be here next season? Players I want to bring in. How do I get my ideas across? How tough has that been for you?
Yeah, well, you're spinning a lot of plates. I think every manager is during pre-season and the transfer window. Fortunately, I have a huge amount of support from Jason, and he takes a lot of that stuff away from me, which is really brilliant for a manager. But yeah, we have a lot of chat. We spent a lot of time this morning before training talking about it. The amount of plates that are spinning, of people maybe leaving the building, people we're looking at to bring in, and we'll land some. We won't land others, but as long as we're happy with the squad we got on the 1st of September, then it will all be worth it. So there's so much work that goes on at a football club behind the scenes to make sure that happens. But all we can focus on really is what happens on the pitch and the training pitch, and how much information we give the players. And we are preparing for all of them to be here, because that is it's probably unlikely, but whilst they're here, we might need them to play on the pitch and to perform for us. So it just takes a bit more work and a bit more energy, but it's fine. We're all in, so we're willing to give the players as much energy as we have. It usually means we crash out in a hotel in the evening pretty quickly, but and all of that as well, whilst trying to get our families down here, get them settled, because it's not just us. There's 5 of us that have come across here, and there's all the families outside of that, and the kids, and all of that. So there's 20 plus people you have to take into consideration, and once they move, which will be very soon, it will make it even easier.
From what you've seen, where do you need to strengthen your squad?
I think we have a strong squad. We have players who are experienced in the Premier League. We have a lot of exciting young talent. I think there's a few areas where we have real depth and a lot of numbers, and there's a couple where we don't have so much. So I think that's really obvious. But I think we're open and willing to strengthen the squad in whatever position we can, really. And also, we'll find out more as the games go on. We've only played 2 games, and they've been very different games. The first game was against Benfica, so it made it really easy for us for the first test that we faced. It was difficult, but it was, the more games we play, the more they're on the pitch, the more we'll learn about the players we have, and the more we'll learn about what we need, I think. So, but whilst we're here and whilst we have the players we have, it's up to them to show us that they can do it, and we're really open-minded, really open to being surprised. There'll be players who look hugely different to the players they were last season because maybe the style suits them more, maybe the style suits them less, some of them. So, I think we're really interested to see that. We're really excited to see that. But as it stands, the group we have, we're really, really happy with, and we're really enjoying working with. Thank you.
Jamie from ITV.
Hi, Jamie from ITV Meridian. Just wanted to know your sort of goals for the season, really. What aims and goals you have for the coming season?
Well, I think the obvious one is to get back to the Premier League. I can't come out here and say that, I would just want to improve and build a style and all that stuff. I think we want to get to the Premier League whilst doing all of that, whilst improving young players, improving older players, developing a style that the fans can feel they identify with and enjoy watching, build something that the players enjoy being part of and the staff enjoy being part of, and feel like they belong to, for sure. I feel like in 3 or 4 weeks that the players understand what's expected of them in terms of just being themselves and being authentic and being open and honest with each other. So I think we have a real idea that the club is going to operate like that now, be really open and transparent, and try and involve everyone, because it's really important to us. But obviously the ultimate goal is to get back to the Premier League as quickly as we possibly can, and doing that with a certain game model, style of play, whatever you want to call it, that runs throughout the club now. So Jason and ourselves have been tasked with doing that, and we'll give it everything we've got, and we're really excited about that. And I feel like we are in a good place to be able to achieve that.
Changes have been difficult for the change in style to be implemented?
I think changes can often be messy, right? And when it's come after a big disappointment like last season, it can be really difficult. And the club's been through something that is really hurtful to players, to staff. It means you lose people, and everyone feels it. The supporters feel it. Everyone feels it. Everyone associated with the club feels it. So it's up to us to change that energy to bring our own way of doing things, and the style of play is obviously going to be one of them and the main one. But so far what we've seen, the lads have been really receptive, really open to it. We have some outstanding footballers that will be able to implement the ideas very quickly, and they're learning all the time and they're growing all the time, and they're starting to understand why we're asking them to do certain things, which is amazing for us when you see that as a coaching staff. We had a training session the other day where you just looked at each other and the learning they've had already, and we were like, okay, they're starting to get it now. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to happen overnight, but hopefully step by step, game by game, we can improve, get better, and people will see that. But we have to do that whilst winning games early on to give ourselves a chance, really, to do what we want to do and to get people to buy into it. So I think the players are enjoying it. I hope they are. We're enjoying working with them. And I think that energy and willingness to learn and grow together will help us, will carry us a long way.
So would you ask Saints fans to be patient?
Yeah, I think patience can be really important. I don't think we're not going from like from a place in a short distance. We're going from one way of working to maybe the opposite end of the spectrum, really. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way at all, because I think what Ralph built here over a number of years was incredible, really incredible. Albeit it didn't end in a positive way, etc. But I think he did brilliant work here, and it's up to us now to build on that, but also implement our own way. And in terms of game model, it's very, very, very different. But I hope it's one that everyone will enjoy watching and will enjoy working in, and will win us lots of games, because we wouldn't do this, or we don't believe in this way. I say we, myself and the coaching staff, it's our job to also make the players believe in it. But we don't believe in it because it looks nice, or we just enjoy it. We really believe it's the best way to win, and it's the way to win over a sustained period of time, and the way to win whilst improving people and players, really, which has to be like utopia for any coach or manager. Is to see growth in people, and to see them buy into the story that you give them, and to watch them then go and perform and like display the best version of themselves. Because in football you don't very often get a chance to do that. I think you just learn to survive and do what you need to do, and which is great. The rewards of that can be really big, but to then try and do all of that and then try and actually do the stuff you dreamt of doing as a kid, which all involved the football, I think, having the ball at your feet and all that stuff, then it's a really beautiful opportunity for the players, and I hope that they can sense that, and it's a brilliant opportunity for us as well to show that we can be successful doing things in a certain way.
George from the Echo.
Hi Russell, George from the Daily Echo. You were speaking there about having quite a big training squad. Is it kind of a case with the recruitment as well, needing those players to move on before you can start bringing players in? Otherwise you'll have about 35 players in training.
Yeah, I think it's about timing, isn't it? So much of football's about timing and opportunity. So I think we have players that we're interested in, that know we're interested in them, and are happy to be patient and wait. Because we do need to lighten the load a little bit in terms of numbers, and not purely just for training, but financially as well, for the club, and everything else. So yeah, we have played, but there will also be opportunities like Ryan Manning, where we had to move then. Shay Charles, we had to move when we did, and the club and the owners are willing to do that, which have been fantastic for us. So, but yeah, of course, I think it's natural that people will have to start leaving. Otherwise, we will end up with a huge squad. I don't think that's beneficial to anyone, really. I think there's been clubs who have ended up with that, and it's been quite detrimental to the group. So, yeah, we'll have to see where we end up in numbers, but I think the things will start moving now. I'm pretty sure the market's been really slow. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that.
How have you found working with Ryan Manning again, and also Shay Charles?
Yeah, I think Rhino's great. I'm so pleased that Jason and the ownership group were so supportive about that one, and willing to do it. He was outstanding for us over 2 years in a few different positions. But it's just more than that. Like, he's an outstanding footballer who knows the work. So people that know the work we've had and understand the concept of the game and what we want and why we want it will help speed up the process for the other players, for sure. But he's also a huge character. So he's loud, he's demanding, but he's funny. He has a real good personality, and he's just himself. He's totally comfortable around us, which I think the players will become more and more comfortable, for sure. I think we've seen that already in the 3 weeks. They're starting to come out of their shower a little bit now. And it's up to us to keep promoting that, and he'll help that for sure. And Shay is someone who Jason knows so well, and we spoke about very early on in the process of me becoming the manager here. And would it be someone I'd be interested in working with? And the answer was 100%. I spoke to a lot of people about him, coaches he's worked with, players he's played with, especially internationally, and everyone just spoke about what a top player he could be, and already is showing signs of. So yeah, I think both are exciting additions for us, and both will help us this season for sure.
Yeah, how much of a help is it to have those players who are coming in who can, maybe in Shay's example, he's not played under you before, but he's played quite a similar style. When you got only 2 or 3 weeks until the start of the season, you kind of need those players to know what you want, even though they're not played under you yet, don't you?
Yeah, Shay's grown up with a certain game model, style of play, so there'll be different tweaks and differences in what we want and what we expect of him, but a very similar concept: to dominate the ball, to be the role in the middle of the pitch, where you dominate the middle of the pitch and you provide for the team. You are the link the guy the game goes through, so he's very used to that. He's done it at international level already at such a young age, so and we know he has a brilliant mentality, and to play that position you have to have a lot of courage to get on the ball. You have to possess certain attributes that were really difficult. I couldn't have done it when I was a player. It's one of the toughest jobs on the pitch, but we feel he's really capable and ready to do that, and he'll be supported by Romeo and Will Smallbone and a few others who can play in that role. So yeah, I think both will help hugely.
Final one from me. Looking forward to the pre-season games you've got coming up now. As a coach, how much can you look into the results of those, or is it mainly just about getting players minutes?
Yeah, I think it'll all be about performance for us, really. I know it sounds a bit. Listen, if we can do it whilst winning, amazing. But it'll all be about performance and getting ready to win on the 4th of August. That's the most important one. So if we can win all of the games, one of the games, two of the games, it's fine. But it'll be about performance and seeing improvement in that, and seeing growth in the players, and getting them ready and confident to win on the 4th of August. Because really, it's the only thing that matters. I think for everyone else, the results for supporters is nice. For us, of course, it's a nice bonus, but it will all be about performance. If the performance is good over a period, if the performance is good over the course of a season, good performance often means, good process, good performance will often end up in good results. I really believe in that. So we have a clear process, we have a clear way of working that will hopefully enable us to put good performances on the pitch. And if we do that more often than not, we'll win more games than we lose for sure.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All good.